ओमज्ञानं तिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं द्वैजना कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराणी राधे वृन्दामहेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay, so today we are going to start with chapter 13. Okay, so we finished Bhakti Yoga. We are starting with chapter 13. So let me offer my prayers before I start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much everyone for joining this call again. So today we'll be talking about chapter 13. So in the beginning of the chapter, right, when we're starting Bhagavad Gita, we have given classification of the chapters. So from this chapter to 18th chapter, can anyone say what is the section which is given? Anyone? So we finished Bhakti Yoga. Starting we finished Karma Yoga. Last 6 chapters are Bhakti Yoga. So what is this? Yes, Akshaya.
Jnana Yoga.
Jnana Yoga. So from 13th to the end of Bhagavad Gita, that is 18th chapter, it is Jnana Yoga. Okay. So let's go ahead with this. Like every week, let's do a recap of what we learned in the last chapter. So what is the last chapter entitled as chapter 12? Anyone can tell? What is that? Chapter 12. Yes, Krishna Priya.
Devotional Service.
Very good. Yes. So devotional service. So last time I was a bit faster in actually closing up this chapter, but then we'll have many stories discussing today. Okay. So today it will be a bit long because we have number of stories to discuss, but it is more of stories. Okay. Today. So in the chapter 12, that is the devotional service, we actually discussed about 3 sections. This comparatively is a very small chapter, but this is the very important chapter. Okay, so here we have like 3 sections. One is the bhakti is the best. So what was Krishna saying here? Krishna was saying the difference between the worshipper. So Arjuna was asking the question, what is the difference between the worshipper of the impersonal feature and to that of the devotees? Then Krishna was explaining that the devotees are perfect, and also we discussed about how Krishna swiftly delivers his devotees in this particular section. In the second section, we discussed about the progressive steps of devotion. So what are the steps? Anyone remember what are the steps and which is the highest level in this we discussed? Yes, Akshaya.
Mataji, mind is the highest level, Mataji.
Why mind is the highest level?
Controlling mind, if we control the mind, automatically we will chant. If we chant, automatically we will go to Krishna.
Very good. Excellent answer. Yes. So these are the three levels which Krishna was talking about. Mind, he's saying that is the highest level, because even Arjuna said, like Chenchalam hi mana Krishna, he was telling this mind is Chenchalam. It is very flickering. It is very difficult to control the mind. We all are chanting very nicely, like 20 rounds, 30 rounds, we are chanting. But from now on, we have to focus on the quality of the chanting. So far, we are just focusing on the quantity. But from now, since we came to this chapter, we have to focus on the quality of chanting. So whenever we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? When we chant the mantra like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we have to listen to each syllable, whatever we uttered. Like when you said Hare, you have to listen to that. That is how you can focus your mind. Or else our mind is actually carried away to different things in this material world, because this material world, there's so many distractions. Okay, so every time when we actually distract ourselves, we have to bring our mind back. That also we learned, right? We have to bring our mind back. Again, we have to focus. Okay, that is how it works. So Krishna is saying that the highest level is the mind. How that is the perfect stage. Okay, and then next he gave the second level for those of the people who cannot focus that mind. He is saying at least use your intelligence. So how we are using our intelligence? We are using our intelligence to listen to Krishna Katha, to understand Krishna, and to understand what Krishna likes and how we can please the Supreme Lord. So we are trying to understand all that using our intelligence. That is called as sadhana bhakti. So I didn't say that in the last session. So it is called as a sadhana bhakti. Means that is the practice stage. So we all are practitioners. We are practicing bhakti. Okay. So that is the second level. And then the third level is at least use the senses. If people are not able to chant, people are not able to listen. So we heard about people who actually work in the temples, like the maids or the carpenters who work outside, right? Without even knowing, they work for Krishna. So Krishna is saying here the third level is using the senses for the service of the Lord. So this is, we already heard about Karma Yoga, right? Nishkama Karma Yoga. That is, you should not take credit for the results. Leave the results to the Lord. Okay. So those are the three levels Krishna was talking about in that section. And then in the third section, we discussed about qualities that make one dear to Krishna. So we heard about number of qualities here, and I haven't given many of the moral stories here. So we'll discuss more about them today, because in this chapter also we have so many qualities which we'll discuss. So here in this section, Krishna was talking about the reactions when things happen to them, how a devotee actually responds, how a person actually responds, like how his reaction will be there when something happened to them. They will think like, okay, this is all the Lord's plan. Even if it is happiness or distress, they will be equipoised. If there is happiness, they won't be elated. If there is distress, they won't be depressed. That is what Krishna is saying. And dealings with other living entities. They see Paramatma in each and every living entity. Okay, so they will see everyone with equal vision. And attitude towards oneself. Like if we are very much rich, or we get so many things, whatever we wanted, the devotee will not feel that, okay, will not take credit for himself or herself. They will think, because of the Lord, today my position is like this. Because of the Lord, I am happy today. That is the attitude towards oneself. Okay. So we are done with this recap of the chapter. Now let's move on to the chapter 13. So chapter 13, we have 35 verses, and it is divided into 5 sections. So this entire chapter, see, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, we have seen like Arjuna is not a blind follower. Okay. He was asking number of questions, and then he's clearing his doubts, and then he's following whatever Krishna said. Even in our life, if we have doubts, right, we should raise that questions. We have to clarify our doubts. Because some Baba came and said, I am the God, we should not believe them blindly. We have to ask them questions, clear our doubts. We have to benchmark them and then only accept people. So Arjuna is doing the same thing here. So Arjuna asked all these questions for the sake of us, not to benchmark Krishna. Or Arjuna already know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. but he is asking all these questions for our sake. Okay, this chapter again starts with Arjuna asking Krishna 6 questions. So this entire chapter is with 6 questions which Arjuna has asked, and Krishna will be answering that 6 questions. Okay, in this first section, that is from the verse 1 to 7, Arjuna will be asking those 6 questions, and in the second section we will be dealing about the knowledge and how to gain that knowledge from the verse 8 to 12, and in the third section we'll be discussing about soul and super soul. So all of us know what is soul and super soul. We already dealt with it in the second chapter and many other chapters, but then again Krishna is elaborating here because Arjuna has asked that question. And then who is the real enjoyer? So Krishna will be answering to this question here. And what is Jnana Chakshu will be discussing in the section 5. So now let's move on to the first section. So in the first section, we'll be discussing about Arjuna's 6 questions. So what are the 6 questions which Arjuna asked? And like in science, you have so many equations, right? So you'll have like energy, speed formulas and all like that. Krishna is giving an equation here. Body, soul and super soul equation. So what is that equation also? We will be discussing in this particular section. So here we'll have the first verse of this chapter if anyone wants to read. Who want to read this? Yes, Brinda.
Yes, Mataji. Arjuna vacha prakritam purusham chaiva kshetram kshetrajnanam Jnam evacha etadveditum ichchami jnanam gneyam cha keshavam. Arjuna said, "O my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field, and the knower of the field, and of knowledge, and the object of knowledge."
Very good. So in the first words itself, Arjuna is asking about the 6 questions. So what are those? First he said Prakriti. Prakriti means this material nature. Then Purusham. Who is Purusha? He is asking. And he is asking about Kshetram. Kshetram means field. Okay. And Kshetragna. Who is the Kshetragna? What is Kshetragna? And then Gnanam, Gneyam. So these are the 6 questions which Arjuna is asking in this particular chapter. Okay, so we'll discuss in detail what are those. So there is an analogy to actually easily understand. So these are the six subjects we'll be discussing. So the body here, right? So what is the body? Kshetra. Even if you don't remember the Sanskrit words, that's fine, but just try to understand. Kshetra means body. Okay, and Kshetragna. Kshetragna means knower of the body. Who are the knowers of the body? Soul and super soul. And then knowledge, everyone knows, right? Knowledge means what? Gnanam. Okay. And object of the knowledge, or who is the object of the knowledge? That is Gneyam. And nature means Prakriti. We know that nature is Prakriti. And enjoyer. Enjoyer means Purusha. So these are the 6 questions which Arjuna asked. So here there is an analogy which is given. So in the picture you can see that a farmer is actually plowing this field here. And here you can see the picture of a king. Okay. So we have a kingdom. So the kingdom will be ruled by the king. The entire kingdom is owned by the king. Okay. And in that kingdom, there will be land, right? So Kshetram means it is a place or a field. Okay. It is a small piece of land. Kshetram means. So even if we go to some pilgrimage like that, right? We say Kshetram, right? So it is a small piece of land. So this farmer, he owns a small piece of land in this kingdom. And this farmer is actually plowing this field to grow some crops. Okay. So in this analogy, this particular field is considered as a body. So we are given this body, right? So this field is considered as a body. So this body who gave us, it is given by the Supreme Lord. In this analogy, this king actually gave this piece of land to this farmer to plow, and he can yield grain or crops from that. Okay. So this particular farmer who is plowing this field is the soul. Okay. So soul leads the body to reside, right? So soul is using this body to reside. So this farmer is using this field to grow crops. So if this farmer is intelligent enough, he actually uses this field to grow excellent crops wherein he can yield rice or wheat, which are actually useful, okay, profitable crops. But then if the farmer doesn't act properly, then what happens? He might grow weeds or cactus, which are useless, okay? So this body is given to us by this king is compared to the Supreme Lord. So this body is given to us by the Supreme Lord. If we don't use this body properly in the service of the Lord or doing good things, then what we will do? We will end up being careless and we will end up wasting our life because we are in this body. So if we desire something wrong, maybe a new body is getting ready for us. So if whatever we deserve and whatever we desire, our next body is getting ready, right? So if we are careless, we will transmigrate. This body is temporary. All of you know that this body is temporary, right? But the soul is permanent. So once this body decays and decomposes, diseased and dies, we have to transfer to another body. That is called as transmigration. But if we are careless enough, though we will be transferring maybe to a animal body, or maybe we can become a tree also. So that's why we have to be careless. We have to be careful, we have to be careful, and we have to understand what is the relationship between the soul and the super soul. Okay, now we understood what is Kshetra. Kshetra is the body, means the field. And what is, who is Kshetragna? Kshetragna is the soul and the super soul. Okay, the knowers of the body. Okay, that we'll discuss in detail. So here we have a life lesson if anyone wants to read. Yes, Vanshika. Vanshika.
Body when utilized for spiritual advancement is like utilizing our land for the best and most expensive crops that would yield maximum profit.
Very good. So that same thing is said in this life lesson. We have been given this human form of life, and this is the rarest forms, okay? And we have to utilize it in the spiritual advancement so that we will yield maximum benefit. What is the maximum benefit? If we start a devotional service in this life, if we did not complete and we did not go to Goloka also in this life, in next life we will be taking a human form and we will be starting from wherever we left. If we left at 50%, we'll be starting from 51%. That is the maximum profit, okay? And there is another analogy here. So every one of us will live in our own house or rented house, right? For example, let's take a rented house. So the rented house, there is a house owner, and there is a tenant. Who is a tenant? A tenant is a person who lives in that house temporarily. Okay, so in this analogy, the house owner is the Supreme Lord and the tenant is the house owner is the Supreme Lord and the tenant is the soul, and the house is the body. The soul lives in this body temporarily. Okay, but after this body decomposes and dies, the soul has to transfer to another body, right? So we have to understand that we all are tenants in this material world. Ultimately, all of us have to go back to the spiritual world. So our stay in this material world is temporary. That we have to understand here. So here we have the differences between the soul and the super soul. So we discussed about Kshetra. Kshetra means the body. Then Kshetragna. Kshetragna means the knowers of the body. Who are the knowers of the body? The soul and the super soul. And let's see what is the difference between the soul and the super soul. Okay. So here the soul is the knower of the body. So we all of us know about soul. Soul is the knower of the body. But how much do the soul knows about our body? How much we actually know about our body? See, for example, tonight we eat something. Tomorrow morning we'll wake up. Maybe our stomach might be upset or something else might happen. Or else all of us might have cold, fevers. All of us might have experienced all this, right? So next day, what is going to happen? Really don't know. What is going to happen in our body? We don't know. So we don't know 100% about our body itself. But the super soul, that is the Supreme Lord, He is the knower of everyone. That is the knower of all the bodies. Okay. And then the second one is the soul is a secondary proprietor and controller. So again, let's take the example of the house itself. So for example, we have a house. I am the owner of the house. How long I am the owner of the house? Until my death. After death, what happens? It will be transferred to my children, then grandchildren, like that it goes on, right? So we are not the permanent owners, but then we think that we are the permanent proprietors and controllers and we behave like that. But we have to understand that only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, he is the supreme proprietor and controller of everything. And the third one is we are fallible and we are the subordinate. Fallible means like we have the tendency to commit mistakes. Is there anyone in this call who will say that I never committed any mistake? We actually learn from our mistakes, right? Is there anyone who says, no, I haven't committed any mistake? No, right? Nobody will be there. Yeah. So we are fallible and we are subordinate. To whom we are subordinate? We are subordinate to the Supreme Lord. We have to agree that. But the Supreme Lord is infallible and he is always superior to the spirit soul. Soul or spirit soul is the same. Okay. So we have to accept that we are the subordinates to the Supreme Lord. Okay. So that is the difference between the soul. And in this particular section, Krishna gave the equation. What is that equation? So we discussed about Kshetra. We have discussed about Kshetrajna. And now we are discussing about Gnanam. Gnanam means knowledge. What is knowledge? Krishna is giving the equation of knowledge. So what is knowledge here? When a person knows about the body, about the soul, and the super soul, that is knowledge. That is real knowledge. That is what Krishna is saying here. Okay, understood so far? So here there is one more life lesson if anyone wants to read. Harika?
Yes, Mataji. Ma'am, Mataji, but I didn't.
Can you see?
Having a yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Having acquired to the
Theoretical?
Theoretical knowledge, let's do some practicals in life. Mataji, I can't see the
Devotional service. Okay. So far we have been listening to Bhagavad Gita from quite so many sessions. We already came to the 13th chapter, that is Jnana Yoga. We have listened to theory. Now we have to start doing practicals. All of you already started doing practicals, but here what the life lesson is, not only listening, but we have to try to implement that in our day-to-day life. We have to start some practicals, that is devotional service. So can anyone say what is the definition of devotional service? What does the devotional service mean? Yes, Brenda.
Ma'am, chanting, offering prasad to Krishna.
Devotional services, working for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Yes, very good. You have any other answer, Krishna Priya?
To do work to please Krishna.
Yes, excellent. Yes, that's
Only whatever we do, everything should be Krishnaized. Only for anything. And we have to please our Gurudev.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Yes, Akshay.
Mataji, we should offer prasad. What we get, we should give the first priority to Krishna only, Mataji.
Sorry, I didn't hear you properly, Akshay. You're breaking in the middle.
What we do, we should give the first priority to Krishna only.
Very good. Excellent. Yes. Yes, that's it. You all understood Bhagavad Gita very well. This one thing, if you understand, you already gain that knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. That is important. Very good. So we are done with the first section. Now we are moving to the second section. How to gain this knowledge. Okay. So this is from the verse 8 to 12. I think there are no verses here. Okay. So how to gain this knowledge? Krishna actually gave the, I think there are 20 elements which Krishna was describing to actually gain this knowledge. So if we have all those qualities, then we will be able to gain the knowledge. That is what Krishna is saying. So the most important quality is Ananya Yogena, that is constant and unalloyed devotion. What is that unalloyed devotion? Means that is like we discussed about 24 karat gold, right? Ananya Bhakti, unalloyed devotion. That is the first important quality Krishna is saying. Then essential quality, Acharya Upasnam. So we'll discuss this in detail. This is Acharya Upasnam means service to the Guru. Okay, there is a mistake here. Essential qualities, Krishna is talking about Amanitvam, means humility, Ahimsa, non-violence, Atma Vinigraha, that is self-control. Then detachment from general mass of people. So there are so many other qualities which Krishna discussed. We'll discuss one by one in detail now. So first, Krishna is talking about humility. So we already discussed about humility in last chapter, but then we will discuss again here. So what is humility? Humility is being very humble. So here we'll discuss about the story. See, for example, there is a big building which is being constructed. Okay. And there are like 10 floors. The supervisor of that particular building is actually in the 10th floor. He wanted to actually call the construction worker who is actually residing in the ground floor. So he's shouting from the top floor to call that construction worker. But because it is 10th floor, this construction worker is not able to hear him. So what he did, he wanted to draw his attention. That's why he actually threw a small stone from the top. But then that stone fell somewhere away from the construction worker and he couldn't grab his attention. So this time what he did, he took a 5 rupee coin and he threw it from the 10th floor. And this 5 rupee coin fell right in front of that construction worker. And this construction worker, right, he did not even bother like someone threw or something. He just took that 5 rupee, he put in his pocket. Then the supervisor thought, okay, this person is like this, is not seeing at me. Now let me throw a bigger note. Now he threw like 100 rupees note from the top. And that also fell right in front of that construction worker. Again, he took that, he put in his pocket, he's doing his actual work again. Again, the supervisor, what he did, this time he threw a 500 rupee note from the top. And again, it fell in front of this construction worker. He happily took it, put in his pocket. He's doing his work again. So this time what this supervisor did, okay, this fellow is not even looking at me. Let me do one thing. And he took a bigger stone this time. So construction workers, you know, right, they'll wear that orange color caps, helmet sort of thing, right? So what this supervisor did is, he took a bigger stone, not to hurt him actually, just to draw his attention. Okay, he took a bigger stone and he threw it down. What happened? It fell on his helmet. And then immediately he was looking up. So far, then the supervisor actually talked to him. But from this story, what we have to understand is, when good things happen in our life, we don't even worry or we don't even have that gratitude to say thank you to the Lord. Okay, because everything is going happily, right? We don't need Lord. We don't even bother who is behind all this. Okay, but when bad things happen in your life, we will be ready to blame the Supreme Lord. Okay, not us exactly. There are so many people who actually, in terms of distress, when something did not go properly on their way, they actually blame the Supreme Lord. They actually go to the Lord, why this is happening to me and all. But so far in their life, so many good things happened. But during that good things, they never even remembered Lord. But then something bad happened in their life, they actually go to the Lord and blame the Lord, saying that, oh God, oh my dear Lord, my life is like this. It is so distressful, so stressful. Why are you doing all this to me? Like that, people complain. So many people are there in the world who complain like that. Okay. So what we have to understand is, we should be humble enough. We should inculcate the attitude of gratitude. So we should, in terms of happiness also, we should show our gratitude to the Supreme Lord. We should take our time every day. See, all of us, like if there are some festivals or something, we worship the Lord. And other days, we actually forget, right? We shouldn't be like that. Every day, whatever, if tomorrow I woke up, that is because of the Supreme Lord. So we should show gratitude. We should inculcate that habit of showing gratitude. That is humility. We have to be humble enough to actually accept that we are the subordinates of the Supreme Lord. Okay. So here we can discuss one more story. I think all of you know this story. Proud red rose. Okay. So there is a cactus and there is a red rose. Rose, you know, right? It will be very beautiful. And cactus, who will be interested in cactus? It will be so many thorns. It will be very spiky. So nobody will be interested to go and say, oh, cactus, so beautiful. We never say that, right? We'll go to the rose, we'll smell it. Wow, so wonderful. We can use this for the Supreme Lord. We can decorate our altar and all will think, right? If roses are there, we won't even be interested to grow cactus at our home in the pots also. Okay, so this red rose, it was so proud of itself, saying that, see, I'm very beautiful. Everyone are coming to me. Nobody is even bothering about you. And it was actually talking all sorts of nonsense to that cactus. But then this cactus was so tolerant, was so humble enough, and it was actually going through so much of distress in that life because of that proud red rose. But then it kept quiet. Then so many days passed by and suddenly summer came in. So when summer came in, what happened? Everything was drying up. So this red rose also, what happened? The petals, everything got dried up. And it was not even having water. But this cactus, one beautiful quality is there, right? For this cactus, it has water within itself. So during summer also, it can utilize that water for himself. And then you can see in this other picture, right? A bird came in and it is actually giving that water to the bird also. Then the rose understood its mistake and it realized that, okay, I committed this mistake. Each one is unique by themselves and we shouldn't be actually feeling proud of ourselves. Okay. So here the rose was proud. So we shouldn't have that pride. Okay. That we have to understand from this story. And then we have non-violence here. So what is non-violence? Non-violence is not going and killing a person. That is also bad. Yeah, Brinda wants to answer. Yes.
Ma'am, the four adharmas, meat eating, gambling, those, ma'am.
Exactly. Very good. Yes. So non-violence includes all that. And also non-violence is like if you are speaking bad words to your friends or anyone, right? If you're hurting them, basically, that is also violence only. Okay. Because of us, if someone felt bad that day, that is also violence only. Okay. That we have to understand. And in all cases, we have to be non-violent? No. There are situations where we have to show violence also. In scriptures, if we can take the example of Hanumanji. Yeah. Can you hear me? Can anyone confirm? Yes. Okay. Good. Yeah. So we are talking about non-violence, right? So we are taking the example of Hanumanji from the scriptures. So you all know Ramayanam, right? So what did Hanumanji do? Hanumanji, he actually went to Lanka to actually visit Sita and see how Sita is. So when he went to Lanka, what Hanumanji did? He actually talked to Sita in Ashoka Vatika. Okay, but what Sita Devi told us to Hanuman, like Ravana, he's abusing me a lot. So Ravana, you know, right, he's a demon. Okay, so he was talking to Sita so badly and he was saying that if you don't become my queen, right, I will cut you into pieces. I'll cook that and eat. So like this he was talking. And all the demonas who are there, right, those Rakshashis, so they were saying that we will pull your nails, we will cut your toes, like that. They were abusing her a lot. They were torturing her literally. So Sita Devi is actually talking, saying all this to Hanumanji and she was crying. And you know, like Hanuman, he can kill everyone there actually. But then Hanuman, what he did, he actually spoiled the entire Ashoka Vatika. That is the garden of Ravana, right? He spoiled everything. And so many soldiers came and they actually came to catch hold of Hanuman. Actually, Hanuman, they cannot even catch Hanuman. That's how powerful and energetic is Hanuman. But then he got caught and he went because he wanted to see Ravana's kingdom, the palace and everything he wanted to see. So he got caught and he went into the kingdom. Then Ravana told, you have to burn fire to the tail of Hanuman. So they actually burnt. They cannot even do that. But Hanuman, he actually let them do those things. So they burned the tail of Hanuman, and with that tail, he burned the entire Lanka. Okay, so this is also violence, right? But this violence is used for the noble cause. So violence can be done, but that can be done only for a noble cause. Okay, understood? Non-violence here. Then next one is truthfulness. So we have to be truthful. So all of you know this story here, right? The shepherd boy and the wolf. Okay, yeah, everyone know. So there is most of you know, right? So I don't need to actually talk about this story maybe. So I'll just give a brief. Okay, so the shepherd boy, right? So the shepherd boy, he actually took all its sheep for grazing. Somehow he actually climbed the top of the hill with those sheep, and elders also came along with this boy. These elders, they were actually sitting at the foot of the hill, and they were actually talking, spending time while their sheep is grazing. This small boy, what he did, he shouted on the top of his voice saying that wolf, wolf, wolf. Then these elders who were there at the bottom of the hill, they heard his shouts and they ran towards him to rescue him. So as soon as they came, this boy, he was laughing seeing at them. They all got angry. They actually chastised him and they left. The second time again, he was doing that same drama. He's saying wolf, wolf, wolf. Again, they came back. So again, there was no wolf. They got very angry. They again scolded him. They left the place. So the third time again, he started screaming wolf, wolf, wolf. But this time it is real. He was crying, shouting, but nobody is coming for help. But because he's crying continuously for a long time, these elders thought, I think there is a real problem, and then they came. But by the time they have come, the wolf ate all the sheep. Okay, then one of the elder, they came to this boy and they said, the third time when you cried for help, it is genuine. But then nobody came to rescue you. Why? Because you lost the trust. 2 times you tried to play a prank. Okay, you lost the trust. So what you have to understand, what we all have to understand is we should not lose our trust. Okay, if we lose our trust anywhere, for that matter, in your school or at home, once someone loses trust on you, they will never regain the trust on you. You cannot be truthful to them anytime. So it's always important to be truthful. So we should not be lying. Okay, that we have to understand here. So the next quality is tolerance. Sometimes it is important to be tolerant. Okay, not that if someone is actually hitting you for no reason, not like that. But there are certain stages where we have to be tolerant. So for this, we'll discuss about a story of a traveler who is traveling in a ship. So there is a traveler who is traveling in a big ship. There is a person who is sitting behind the traveler. And this person is a big bodybuilding, energetic man. Okay. Then this particular traveler, he just poked this bodybuilder who is sitting beside him. And he was just asking for what is the time. Okay. He just asked, my dear person, my dear traveler, what is the time now? Then what this bodybuilder did, you know, he actually took his hand and he bumped on this traveler's head 1 pen. And because he is very heavy, hefty, and because of that power, right, this traveler, he actually fell down from that seat wherever he's sitting. Okay, then the fellow travelers and all, they were so surprised. Even this particular traveler is surprised. And he asked that bodybuilder, what did I do for you? I just asked the time. Why are you doing like this? Then he said, that is the way I answer for a time. If someone asks me the time, because it is 1 o'clock now, I just bumped you 1 time. Then this person thought, this traveler thought, oh my God, I had a very good fortune. 1 hour back, if I asked him the time, he would have bounced me 12 times. So he thought, I'm really fortunate. I asked the time at 1 o'clock. I did not ask at 12 o'clock. So he thought, instead of fighting with that bodybuilder, see, some people have some mannerisms, right? We cannot avoid them. And just for the sake of time, he had 1 bounce. So sometimes we have to be tolerant because we don't know that person. And is it even essential to have a fight with him? And the heavy personality bodybuilder, even if this small traveler, he had a fight with him, the bodybuilder might have broken his bones, right? So sometimes we have to be tolerant. So from this, we have to understand that we have to be tolerant at times. Okay. And next, pridelessness. So here you can see, right? This boy is saying, I am strong, right? So this is another quality we have to inculcate. We should not be proud. See, now we all are learning Bhagavad Gita. Tomorrow, if you actually talk to your friends or any other elders or anyone, you should not feel proud saying that I have learned entire Bhagavad Gita. I know Bhagavad Gita. No, even I don't know Bhagavad Gita. No, none of us know entire Bhagavad Gita. We are trying to understand what is Bhagavad Gita. There is a lot to learn from Bhagavad Gita. There's so much to learn from our acharyas. So we should not feel proud that we know everything. Not only spiritual knowledge, even material knowledge. There is always scope for us to learn. This is continuous learning. So we should not feel proud that we know everything. If we have that pride, right, we will not grow in whichever field we are doing. Okay. Yeah. So here, let's see an example of a beggar. So once a beggar came to a house asking for alms, and that there is an young lady in that house. This young lady, she actually came to that beggar and she said, next time you don't even enter into my house. Get out of my house. Then this beggar felt so distressed. He thought, like, if you don't want to give, just don't give. Why are you screaming at me? Then he said, this is my house, my wish. You just get out of my house. Then this beggar, he is actually coming out of the house. Okay. Then just an elderly woman is actually entering into that house. Then what this beggar did is, this beggar actually talked to that lady saying that I came to ask some alms from your house. I don't know who is that lady. There is an young lady in the house. She rejected. She didn't even give me anything. Then this elderly woman, what she did, she said, oh, did she say like that? Come into my house. And she brought that beggar inside and she shouted at that daughter-in-law. She called the daughter-in-law outside. And what she said, now, this elderly woman, that is a mother-in-law, she said, who is she to say you to get out of my house? This is my house. I have to say, now get lost from my house. I won't give you any alms. So, what we have to understand from this story is the elderly woman, how she's feeling. She's feeling that she is the owner of the house. And she showed that pride in herself. So we should not be proud of anything in our life. Okay. If we have that pride, that is the end of our learning. So we should be learning continuously. So we should not be proud. Okay. And then next is simplicity. So simplicity, we don't need any story. Simplicity is basically a simple living. Okay. And then no false ego. This is very important to discuss here. So we should not have any false ego. We should not have ego. So false ego is like what we will think is we are always better than everyone. So this picture is very dramatic to understand. So we always, if we have that false ego, right, we will try to push others down, 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 and we want to take steps on them. So we shouldn't be doing like that. So once from the scriptures, Ravana, right? He's a demon. So this Ravana actually came to Narada Muni to ask for spiritual knowledge. Then Ravana came to Narada asking for spiritual knowledge. But Narada Muni said, I cannot give you spiritual knowledge because you don't have any qualities to actually learn the spiritual knowledge. To obtain this knowledge, Krishna is saying that we have to have all these qualities. But Ravana, we know he's a demon. He doesn't have any of those qualities. So Narada Muni, he said the same thing. No, you don't even have any of those qualities. I cannot give you the spiritual knowledge. Then Ravana said, see, if you won't give me that spiritual knowledge, I'm going to kill you. Then Narada Muni said, no, you don't have that quality. I'm not going to give you this knowledge. Then what this Ravana did, he took a sword and he actually crossed over Narada Muni. But because Narada Muni is having a spiritual body, right, that sword didn't even touch him. He tried multiple times. Then this is another shock for Ravana. What? I'm trying to kill you. Nothing is happening to you. He's asking, what is your body made up of? What the body is that? Why are you not getting hurt? So if we have that material body, right? If someone actually does something with a small pin also, it will hurt us. But for Narada Muni, nothing happened. Here we have to understand how proud. See, for spiritual knowledge, you have to be very humble, very simple. You have to be very submissive. So who knows that sloka which talks about submissiveness? Yes, Krishna Priya.
Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te gnanam gnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
Very good. So if we wanted to gain this knowledge, we should be like that. But Ravana doesn't have anything. In spite of that, he is going and demanding, I will kill you if you won't give me this knowledge. All this nonsense he's doing. So we should not have that pride. We should not have that false ego in us. From this, we have to understand that. Next, call it. Okay, there's one more story here. So this is a moral story. I think most of you know the fox and a crane story, right? Yeah. So one time the fox actually invited the crane for a feast. Okay. It invited for a feast, and what it did, it made a very flavorful, very tasty soup. And you can see in this first picture, right, how it's served. But the crane actually, it has a long beak, right? So it cannot eat from this particular plate. But then the fox was not worried. It was actually cheating. But the crane couldn't actually eat anything, and the fox happily ate everything, and they left. And next time, the crane actually invited the fox for a dinner. This time, what the crane did intelligently, because it's long beak, right? It had a long glass, you can see in the second picture. So it served the soup in this. And you can see the fox face, right? How embarrassing it was because it could not eat anything. So we have to understand that if we are cunning, the way we behave with others, the same way they reciprocate with us. If we are good, they reciprocate in that way. If we are bad, they also might be bad to us. So we have to understand how we are and how we actually behave with others. In the same way, they reciprocate with others. And if we, same way with the Lord, right? If we actually serve him with love and devotion, he will reciprocate towards us in the same way. So this we have to understand from this particular story. And then serving the Guru, Acharya Pasana. That is serving the Guru. So how we have to serve the Guru, we have to understand. So here we can talk of a story. So there is a person in Vrindavan. He actually went to a Guru asking for an initiation. My dear Guru, please initiate me. He was asking. Then the Guru said, I will initiate you tomorrow. You come tomorrow. But in this 24 hours time, you have to bring a person to me who is less or inferior to you. Then this particular person thought, oh, there will be so many people in this world who are inferior to me. What one, I'll bring 100 people tomorrow, he thought in his mind. And while he is leaving from this particular ashram, right, he took a rickshaw. And the rickshawala, he actually took him to his house. On the way, while he is going, he thought, this rickshawala might be inferior to me. I think I can take this person tomorrow. Then after some time, he thought, like, see, from the Guru's ashram to my house, I couldn't go on myself. I had to depend upon this rickshawala. So definitely he is superior to me. So I cannot think he is inferior to me. So he left and he went to his house. When he went to his house, when he got down near his house, there's so many vegetable vendors there. Then seeing the vegetable vendors, he thought, I think these vegetable vendors are inferior to me because they are lesser than me, right? So he thought like that. Then after some time, he thought, okay, if these vegetable vendors are not there, how do I get vegetables? I cannot grow these crops, right? They are growing the crops and they're bringing all this yield and selling for us. He thought, no, these people also are not inferior to me. I am only inferior to me. Like that, in 24 hours, he met different people in his life. And he thought everyone are inferior to him. Everyone are superior to him. He couldn't even find a person who is superior than him. He thought everyone inferior to him, sorry. So he couldn't find a person who is inferior to him. Everyone whom he met, he thought everyone is superior to me. Everyone are better than me, he thought. The next day morning, he was so stressed out. Okay, I didn't find one person also. How do I take to my Guru Maharaj? He thought. Then he actually went to his Guru next day morning and he said, Guru Maharaj, I'm so sorry. I cannot be initiated. I couldn't even find one person who is lesser than me. Everyone are better than me. Then the Guru Maharaj said, this is the right time you can be initiated. So here the Guru Maharaj is actually talking about how a disciple should be. A disciple should be humble enough to think that everyone are superior than him. We should not always think that everyone are inferior to me. We should not have that attitude. Even in our class or even in our day-to-day life, we should always think that there is someone who is better than us. Then only we can grow spiritually or materially. If we think that I am better than everyone in this world, we cannot even grow in our life. Okay? Understood so far? Yeah. Cleanliness. So cleanliness also is very important. So what is that proverb which says, right? Anyone knows which is related to, yeah, Brinda?
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Very good. Excellent. Yes. So all these qualities which we are discussing is, they bring us closer to Krishna. Because we are inculcating all these godly features, right? Godly qualities we are, not features, qualities we are inculcating that will make us very dear to Krishna. So cleanliness is like external cleanliness and internal cleanliness. Okay. External is like you have to keep your body clean. We have to take bath regularly, like minimum one time, at least one time. There's people like I have hearing people staying in hostels who don't even bath a day because they have to wake up in the morning. Yeah. So we have to inculcate the habit of being clean, taking bath, wearing clean clothes, washed clothes. Okay. And internal cleanliness is when we get internal cleanliness, all of you know, when we can inculcate internal cleanliness. Anyone want to answer? Yes, Akshay.
When we learn about Krishna.
Okay. Yeah. Very good answer. Anyone want to add to that?
When we chant, Mataji.
When we chant. Yes, good. Yes, Harshit.
When we do a devotional service to the Supreme Lord Krishna.
Very good. When we work for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, we are cleaning ourselves internally. That is why chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when working for Krishna, when using our senses for the pleasure of Krishna, when we are doing all that, we are cleaning internally. Very good. Next. Steadiness. So steadiness is like you all are chanting, right? So steadiness is you have to sustain to what you're doing. Okay. See, for example, for everyone it is prescribed to do 16 rounds of chanting. So we should have that steadiness to do 16 rounds of chanting. And if we fall back, like for example, one day I'm doing 14, I did like 16 because Guru Maharaj or my Siksha Guru told, I did 16 rounds continuously, saying that, okay, I started doing 16 rounds. But after a month or so, if I fall down and I'm not even doing any rounds, is it of any use? No. So we have to be consistent. Like if I start at least from 4 rounds, I have to be consistent, say for a month. Okay, fine. I'm doing 4 rounds. Let me go to 8. Let me go to 10. Like that, our progress should be there. But we should not imitate other seniors or other superiors and think that maybe friends also sometimes. You should not imitate your friends. Okay, my friend is doing this, my friend. See, for example, there's so many activities these days, right? Like dancing, singing, someone might be a sport, they might do skating. So we should not get influenced seeing others saying that, okay, my friend is doing 3 activities, I'm doing only 2. I have to start a new activity. No, we should not have that attitude. We should see what we can do. We should not get influenced by others. So that steadiness should be there. We should sustain what we are doing. Okay. Understood? Yeah. So next one is self-control. So this is also very, very important to understand. So here we can discuss the story of again Hanumanji. So Hanumanji, when he is actually going to Lanka, right, to see Sita Devi, then he actually have to cross the ocean, right? There is a Indian Ocean. So because Hanumanji is a monkey, monkeys what they do? They jump. They don't swim. They jump. So Hanumanji, and this ocean, right, it is like 100 yojanas. So 1 yojana is 8 miles. So 100 yojanas means 800 miles Hanumanji can jump to actually reach Lanka. But then in this river, there is a demon called, demoness called Sarasa. Okay. Sarasa is the commander of serpents. We all of us know serpents, right? So this Sarasa actually got a boon that whoever is actually going through this ocean, they have to go into her mouth. Then Hanumanji is actually traveling towards Lanka through this Indian Ocean. Then this Sarasa came, it opened mouth and it said like, you have to enter into my mouth. Then Hanumanji said, no, I am on a mission. I'm going to see Sita Devi. I have to report to Rama. Please don't disturb me. Then this Sarasa said, I got a boon from Brahmaji that anyone who actually traveled to this through this ocean, they come into my mouth. Okay. Now Hanumanji, he actually respected. See how much self-control Hanumanji is having here. He is on a mission and he is very eager to go and see Sita Devi, who is in Lanka. But then he accepted, he wanted to actually give respect to Brahmaji because Brahmaji gave that boon to Sarasa. So he said, okay, I will enter your mouth, but not now. On my return journey, I will enter your mouth. Now I am in a hurry that I have to go to Lanka and see Sita Devi and report that to Rama. Then this Sarasa, she did not agree. No, you have to enter my mouth, she was saying. What did Sarasa did? It expanded itself. It's when they expand, it expanded herself such a way that it covered 10 yojanas. 10 yojanas means I said 8 miles, right? 1 yojana is. So 80 miles it expanded. Then Hanumanji also expanded 10 yojanas. Then like 20, 30, 40 like that, it expanded the entire ocean. Then Hanumanji also, he expanded that big, he became Hanumanji. Then when she expanded the entire ocean, right? What did Hanumanji did? Hanumanji did like a tiny ant will be there, right? He became a small ant. He entered into the mouth, he just came out. Then that Sarasa, it actually came back to its normal form and it was actually pleased by the intelligence of Hanumanji. Because see, by the time it has to open the mouth, how much tiny ant will be there in that big 800 miles giant figure. He entered the mouth, he came out. So he fulfilled Sarasa's desire there and he did not even got interrupted with his mission. He's on his mission. And by this, he even got the Sarasa actually congratulated Hanumanji and even gave boon that he has to go successfully to Lanka. So here we have to understand how much self-control Hanumanji had in spite of being on a mission. Sometimes see, during exams and all, when we are actually traveling to our school, if something happens or some relatives or someone came to our house during exams, we get so much distracted, right? We lose our control basically. So in situations like that, we have to take the example of Hanumanji and we should not lose our temper. Okay. Next one is detachment. Detachment is basically, you all know the meaning of detachment. We have to let it go. So we should not be attached to things or people. So we have to let it go. Okay. So nothing much to talk about detachment. And determination, again, example, we have Hanumanji. We know how much determined Hanumanji is, right? In spite of having so many obstacles, how much he worked for his master, how much he worked for the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. So we have, even if we start anything in our life, right, we have to end, we have to learn it completely. Not that because my friends are doing, I also want to do, that doesn't work out. If we want to do something in our life, if we want to achieve anything in our life, we have to be determined and we have to give our 100% in whatever we choose to. Okay, understood? So this is unalloyed devotion. So far we discussed all the qualities and all these qualities are to have unalloyed devotion towards the Supreme Lord. Unalloyed devotion is, there is no defect or any mistake. That is 100%, 24 karat gold. There should not be any Ananya Bhaktas. So here we are talking about Ananya Bhaktas. We should have unalloyed devotion towards the Supreme Lord. And here we have a life lesson if anyone wants to read. Those who haven't read. Harshit?
Yes, yeah. Focus your goal, get the proper trainer, learn with all humility, success would be achieved in any field of life.
This is an amazing life lesson for all of us. First, we have to focus on our goal. We need a proper trainer, a guru for that. And we have to learn with submissiveness. We have to be submissive. We have to be humble enough. And success will be achieved in any field of life. Okay. One more life lesson if anyone wants to read, who haven't read so far. Atidi?
Yes, Mataji. Non-violence is not limited to not killing others. It actually means not put others in distress.
Very good. So this already we discussed, right? So non-violence is not only about killing people, but then because of us, if someone got hurt or they're in distress, that is also violence. Okay. One more life lesson. Rana?
Krishna, simple formula for self-control. Reject anything which is stopping us from
Spiritual advancement. Yeah, go ahead.
ज्ञात्वामृतमश्नुते अनादिमत्परं ब्रह्म न सत्तन्नासदुच्यते. Translation: I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which will taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world.
Very good. So here in this verse, Krishna is saying he'll be explaining about knower. Who is the knower? The knower is the soul and the super soul. So here Krishna is explaining about the soul and the super soul. Let's see what are the attributes of the soul first. The soul is eternal. So all of us know, right, that the soul is eternal. But then there is no date of birth for the soul and there is no expiry. All of us know that. That is anadi. Then the soul is subordinate to Krishna. It is always dependent on Krishna. See, the soul is there in our body. It is actually depending on this body. But later on, based on our desire and what we deserve, we get the next body. The next body, who actually rewards that next body? That is given by Krishna again. So the soul is a subordinate to Krishna and is always dependent on Krishna. And soul is beyond the cause and effect of this material world. So these are the attributes of the soul. Now here we have a life lesson if anyone wants to read. Harshini?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't waste time adjusting furnitures of the guest house. Your eternal home is ready to the perfection. Just start the return journey.
Very good. So this is another very important life lesson. So all of us think that we will be permanently here in this material world. So what adjustments will make? We'll make a comfortable furniture. If it is summer, we'll have an AC. We'll make all temporary arrangements here. So what this life lesson is saying is, don't waste time adjusting the furnitures of the guest house. This is just a guest house. This is temporary, right? Dukkalayam ashashvatam. Krishna was saying Dukkalayam ashashvatam. But we have to make arrangements to actually go to the spiritual world. That is the eternal home for us. So we have to work on doing that. So here the life lesson status, we have to start the return journey. Okay? Okay. So here one more verse is there if anyone wants to read. Yeah, this time I'll give to Krishna Priya. Last time they were reciting Vishnu Priya or Krishna Priya. Anyone? Yeah, Vishnu Priya.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes, Samjay.
Bahirantascha bhutanam acharam charamevacha sukshmatvad tad avigneyam durastham chantike chatat. Translation: the supreme truth exists outside and inside of the living beings, the moving and the non-moving. Because he is subtle, He is beyond the power of the material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Hare Krishna. So this is again very important thing which Krishna is saying here. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all human beings. So inside he is like a Paramatma. Outside we know the two-handed form of Krishna who is there eternally in the spiritual world. And inside all the living beings, moving, non-moving, and because he is subtle, he is beyond. See, with this material senses, we cannot perceive the Supreme Lord. Although he appears to be far, far away, but yet he is always near to us. So we have to understand that. See, here we can take an example of a shopping complex, right? So shopping complex or even apartments or gated communities. These days we have CC cameras everywhere, right? So we have to understand that whatever we do in this world, we have to understand that everything is known to the Supreme Lord. So we actually temporarily, we make arrangements like man-made gadgets. We use man-made gadgets to actually track what is happening. For example, if you go to the shopping mall, there'll be CCTVs. So they'll be tracking everything, what is happening in the floor, what is happening, which floor, everything they'll be tracking, right? But then these are all arrangements we made temporarily to see what is happening in the external world. But the Supreme Lord, he has a big CCTV. He is as Paramatma in us. He can see everything. He can see everything which is happening everywhere. Okay, we have to understand that. So these are the attributes of the super soul. The super soul is all pervading inside and outside of living entities. So this is what is said in that particular verse. He is the origin of all senses, but he has no senses. No senses means we might have a question. Why is the Supreme Lord not having senses? No senses means he doesn't have any taste for everything, basically. Okay, he doesn't really care. Like for example, we might offer prasadam. Sometimes that prasad might not have salt, or sometimes they might be not. It might not be proper. But even then, he doesn't reject anything. He actually takes everything if we offer him to. If you offer him any prasad with love and devotion, so that we have to understand. And because the Supreme Lord has spiritual senses, he is the supreme person. He is the source of all senses. So whatever senses we have, right, each living entity has, he is the source of all the senses. And he is undivided and he resides in the heart of everyone. So who can know the soul and super soul? That will be told in this particular verse. If anyone wants to read this verse. Mahati?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mataji, 1 minute, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah.
Iti kshetram tatah jnanam jnaneyam koktam samasta madbhakta etad vignaya madbhavaya yopapadyate. Thus, the field of activities, knowledge and the knowledgeable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature.
Very good. So here Krishna is explaining who can actually understand the soul and the super soul. He's saying only my devotees can thoroughly understand me. See, with this material senses, we cannot even perceive the Lord. The Lord is inconceivable. We cannot understand him. But he's saying only my devotees can understand me thoroughly. Okay, because the devotees of the Lord, they understand anything from their spiritual master. That too coming from the parampara. So whatever Krishna told, as it is being repeated by all the acharyas. That's why the devotees can understand if they listen from their spiritual master, from the guru. Okay. So here we have a life lesson if anyone wants to read. Who haven't read so far? Yamini, yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I am the body and it's so
Frustrating.
frustrating. I am the soul and it's really
Liberating.
liberating. Hare Krishna
Very.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So if we think I am the body, everything will be frustration because we are thinking this body, if some small thing, if someone hurt others, we will feel so sorrowful for everything, for small things. But if we understand that we are the soul, we are not the body, then it is really liberating. That is a life lesson here. And I'm sure all of us in the call, we know that we are not the body, we are the soul. Okay. Here one more life lesson if anyone wants to read. Who wants to read this? Yeah, I don't see any hands raised. Okay, Vanshika Shrinika. Vanshika, are you there? Okay, Krishna Priya.
Yes, Mataji, we are there, Mataji.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Rather than trying to be controllers, let's give our controls to Krishna. That will give real happiness.
Very good. So this is another very interesting life lesson to actually contemplate and implement. See, every one of us wanted to be controllers. It's like the husband want to lord on the wife, parents want to lord on their children, then boss want to lord on their subordinates. In the school, teachers want to lord on the students. So everywhere, everyone in their position, they try to be the controllers. But if we understand that I am not the controller, Krishna is the controller, that will give us real happiness. See, when you try to be the controllers, right? If someone don't listen to us, what will happen? We will feel very bad. Okay, see, I'm telling so much to this person. He is not listening to me. He is not doing what I'm saying. First of all, why he has to do what we are saying? No, right? So if we understand that Krishna is our controller, he is the supreme controller, then that will give us real happiness. Okay, understood? This is a very interesting life lesson. Okay, now we are going to the next section where it talks about who is the real enjoyer from the verse 20 to 26. Okay, so there is a verse which we already discussed, which actually talks about who is the real enjoyer. Anyone remember that verse? So yeah, I think it is in the 5th chapter. So yes, Krishna Priya.
भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिं गच्छति.
Very good. In this verse, Krishna said he is the well-wishing friend. He is the real enjoyer. Okay. So in Bhagavad Gita, multiple times, same concepts keep repeating. So we have to actually understand what we learned from the previous verses also, previous chapters. Okay. So now let's see who is the enjoyer. Obviously, it is the Lord. Okay. So here in this picture, you can see, right? Like here, Krishna is actually enjoying with all the Gopabalas here. So this is real enjoyment. But in this material world, we actually have friends, family, everything we think that is real enjoyment. Okay, that is real enjoyment, but we are searching for the real enjoyment in the wrong place because that is temporary. Whatever enjoyment you're seeing in the second picture, in this material world, that is temporary. The real enjoyment or real happiness is only in the spiritual world that we have to understand because Krishna only is saying that Dukkalayam is Ashashvatam. So here in this particular section, we will discuss what are the qualities of the Jiva, what are the qualities of the material nature, qualities of the super soul, and how we can reach perfection. These we will discuss in this particular section. So first, let's discuss about the qualities of Jiva. So qualities of the Jiva is like the soul is eternal, right? We all know there is no beginning. But there is a hard struggle for existence since we want to enjoy through material nature. The soul enters into this body, right? Using this body, what we are trying to do here in this material world, we are trying to make temporary arrangements so that we will be happy. So for the soul, it is a hard struggle. See, what is a food for the soul? Anyone can say what is a food for the soul? Yes, Brinda.
The things we do towards Krishna.
To please the Supreme Lord, like the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So if someone, how many people are actually coming to Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Very few, right? Krishna himself told that the devotee, to find a devotee is very rare. To understand him is very rare. So the soul will be, it is a hard struggle for the soul. Since everyone who come into this material world, right, they only think they have to enjoy for their sense gratification. And next one is material nature. Material nature, it is temporary, right? So always there is frustration. Always there is sorrow here in this material world. And how many species? We know that we have 8.4 million species based on the action and what we desire. Based on the 2 Ds, what we deserve and what we desire, we will be awarded any of one of these bodies from this 8.4 million species. Okay. So those are the qualities of the Jiva. Now let's see the qualities of material nature. Material nature, again, it is beginningless. It is a temporary manifestation because we all know, right? It will be devastated. Brahma's night comes, it will be devastated. So we all know that. And there will be Mahapralaya also, where everything will be devastated then. Okay. And it provides residential quarters for the Jiva. Like for the example, we took that house, tenant, house owner house, right? So that is a temporary residence. This material world is a temporary residence for the Jiva and controls Jiva through 3 modes. So what are the 3 modes, if anyone wants to say? What are the 3 modes of material nature? Yes, Krishna Priya.
Sattva, Rajas, Tamas.
Very good. So in detail, we'll be discussing about them in the next chapter. Chapter 4 exclusively talks about these 3 modes. Okay. So here we have to understand that this particular Jiva is in this picture. If you see, right, you all know that puppets, right? They will actually have strings and they will maintain the puppets, right? They'll make the puppets move that side and this side. So same way, these 3 gunas, they're actually making us play in the mode of passion, goodness, and ignorance. So we are playing according to this in this material nature. And if we actually don't follow appropriately, we actually get bound in this material world in this cycle of birth and death. So we'll discuss them, those 3 modes in detail in the next chapter. So here we have a life lesson. Who wants to read? Yeah, I don't see videos on, so I'm not able to ask anyone. Okay, Harshni wants to. She's raising her hand on the top of the world. Yes, Harshni.
Again and again, the matter defeats me. I am investing my love at the wrong place.
Yeah, am I? Yeah. So again and again, this matter defeats me. See, now we came into this human body, means how many species we came through, we don't know. It might be 8.4 million species also. After 8.4 million species, we might have come into this human form. Okay. But this matter, because we are in this material world, this will be defeating us. So we have to understand, we have to question ourselves saying, am I investing my love at the wrong place? We have to understand. Definitely, we all are investing our love in the wrong place. But since we are already in this wrong place, we have to understand that even from here, it is easy to go to Goloka. How? By pleasing the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. Okay. Next, what are the qualities of the Super Soul? Super Soul is the Supreme Lord. So it is he is a transcendental enjoyer. He is the proprietor of everything. And as Paramatma, he is witnessing everything. And he also is the sanctioner. Okay, when we desire something, if we deserve that, he is the sanctioner for that. So those are the qualities of the Super Soul. So here another very interesting life lesson. Mahati?
Yes, Mataji. Krishna is watching.
We have to understand. Please note, Krishna is watching whatever we do, whatever we even think in our mind. We have to understand that Krishna is watching. Krishna is like a CC camera. Okay, he's watching everything. Okay. So now, Super Soul. So here you can see an analogy. See what the soul does. Soul desires for something. And this material nature, it actually gives the body. How this is called as transmigration. So the soul desires something, this material nature sanctions, and then we get a body. Okay, so all these from where they're coming? All these are coming from the super soul. Okay, that is the Supreme Lord. So here again we have a life lesson if anyone wants to read. So I'm not seeing the videos on. Okay, Charan sir.
Yes, Mataji. Let's live the same life. Just change our boss. Krishna is wonderful.
Very good. So see, sometimes this is a very important life lesson to actually understand and inculcate in our day-to-day lives, because you are all still studying, right? If we actually, you advance in your careers and you actually work under someone, then sometimes you might feel very stressful. Oh my God, this boss is so bossy. He's just irritating us every day. I want to change job and all. In that situation, if we always remember this one thing, we have to live the same life, but just change our boss. Let's think Krishna is our boss. Then everything will be wonderful because Krishna is wonderful. Okay. Okay. So Jnana Chakshu. So here in this particular section, so this is the last section from the verse 27 to 35. How to acquire this Jnana Chakshu. Jnana Chakshu means we might have been hearing about third eye, right? It is the eye of wisdom, eye of knowledge, the vision of knowledge. Okay, this is Jnana Chakshu. And what is the destination we will understand in this particular section. So now how to obtain this Jnana Chakshu, we'll understand. So when we gain the knowledge about the constituents of the body. So we know that we have a body. We know that there is a soul. We know that there is a super soul. And we understood the difference between the body and the soul. Okay. And then if we understand that the super soul is present in each and every living entity. See, tomorrow, if you go onto the road, if you see a tree or if you see a dog or cat going, if you understand that, okay, super soul is there within them also. If you understand that, if you have that equal vision towards every living entity, then you will acquire this Jnana Chakshu. And if you have control over the mind and the senses, Krishna was talking about the levels on how to advance in this devotional service, right? Like if you control your mind, if you control your senses, and if you do sadhana bhakti. So if you actually gain knowledge about all this, then you can acquire Jnana Chakshu. That is what Krishna is saying here. So here we can discuss about a very beautiful story, how to control our mind and senses. So earlier we already talked about Dhanurdas in one of fourth chapter or something, I think so. We talked about Dhanurdas. So Dhanurdas is a disciple of
Ramanujacharya.
Okay, so what you can see in this picture, right? So this is Dhanurdas. Dhanurdas has a very beautiful wife. And you can see in this picture, right? He's actually holding they actually went to some temple, some kshetram to actually visit. And you can see Dhanurdas is actually holding umbrella for her. Then
Ramanujacharya.
He actually saw this and he actually called Dhanurdas and he was saying, what are you doing? Why is that you're treating her like that? He said, my wife, you know, her eyes, she's the most beautiful person I have ever seen. I cannot even take my eyes off her. Then Dhanurdas said,
Ramanujacharya
said, okay, I will show you something in this world which is more beautiful than her eyes. Then will you actually take off your eyes from her? Then Dhanurdas said, no, it's not even possible to see any other eyes beautiful than her. Then Madhvacharya said, no, come along with me. I will show you. Then he showed him Jagannath. Seeing Jagannath, right? Eyes here, his tears, his eyes are full of tears. He was so blissful and he was literally crying a lot. And after seeing Jagannath, both Dhanurdas and his wife, they became a very great devotees of the Lord. Okay, so we have to engage. What we have to understand is easy way is to engage in the service of Lord. See now Dhanurdas, earlier he was very much getting attached to his wife. Although she is beautiful, he is very much getting attached to her. But once he actually diverted his senses towards the Supreme Lord, he attained liberation. Okay, we have to understand that from this. So there is one more life lesson here, if anyone wants to read. Anyone? Harshit?
Yes, Mataji. Positive engagements easier, simpler, and definitely better than artificial controls.
Very good. So positive engagements, easier, simpler, and definitely better than artificial controls. See, in this material world, we can see so many things which are very much artificial. Instead of going for them, this positive engagements, if we actually divert our activities towards the Supreme Lord, if we divert our activities towards devotional service, that is very fruitive. Okay, that gives us positive results. That gives us best results. That is what this life lesson is about. So this is the last verse of this chapter. Who wants to recite this verse? Krishna Priya, yes.
क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूतप्रकृतिमोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम्. Translation: those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain to the spiritual goal.
Very good. Excellent. So this is the ending verse of this chapter. Here Krishna is talking about the destination. Those who sees the eyes of knowledge, that is Jnana Chakshu, the difference between the body, the knowers of the body, that is the soul and the super soul, and understand the process of liberation, the bondage of the material nature, then they will automatically reach the Goloka Vrindavan. If one have this Gnana Chakshu, that if they understand the knowledge of all the 6 questions which Krishna has answered, that is Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, Gneyam, Prakriti, Purusha. If we understand about all the 6, then automatically we will reach the eternal abode. That is the Goloka Vrindavan. That is what Krishna is saying. So this we will do a quick overview of today's chapter. So we had 5 sections here. The first section is knowledge and how to gain that. So sorry, this is not the first section. First section is intelligent question. So Arjuna was asking about 6 questions and how Krishna answered and what is the equation Krishna gave here. We saw body, soul, super soul equation. And then we had knowledge and how to gain this knowledge in the second section. And Krishna gave about around 20 qualities here. Most important quality is constant unalloyed devotion. And what is essential quality? Essential quality is accept the spiritual master and serve the spiritual master. And there are other important qualities which are given like humility, non-violence, self-control, detachment, pridelessness, false ego, no false ego. So all this we discussed. And then in the third section, we discussed about soul and super soul. What are the attributes of the soul? The soul is eternal, and we always have to understand that we are the subordinates to Krishna and we belong to the spiritual world. Our home is not this. This is only temporary arrangement. Our home is the spiritual world, that we have to understand. And then we discussed about the attributes of the super soul. Super soul is all pervading and resides in the hearts of everyone. And super soul knows everything. He is a knower of all the bodies. And then in the fourth section, we discussed who is the real enjoyer. So who is the real enjoyer? The Lord, Supreme Lord is the real enjoyer. And then here we discussed about the qualities of the super soul, qualities of Jiva, and how to reach perfection, and what are the qualities of material nature. How to reach perfection? If we acquire this knowledge and we practice. So far we have done only theory, but if we implement that in our day-to-day lives, then we will reach perfection. And then in the fifth section, Gnana Chakshu. So if a person acquires, how a person can acquire this Gnana Chakshu. How can a person acquire this Gnana Chakshu? A person can acquire Gnana Chakshu by actually understanding all the 6 questions which Arjuna has asked to Krishna. If they understand what is the body, that is Kshetra. If they understand Kshetrajna, who is the knower? Knowers of the body are soul and super soul. And if they understand the relationship between the body, soul, super soul, and then they understand about the Prakriti, that is the material nature, and then they understand about the Purusha. Purusha is the Supreme Lord, and Gnanam. Gnanam is the knowledge about the body, soul, and super soul. And Gnayam, how to obtain this knowledge. We have to inculcate those 20 qualities we discussed, right? I think I haven't mentioned all the qualities. Most of them are mentioned. So once we have that 20 qualities, then we can obtain this knowledge. That is what Krishna is saying. So that is the end of this chapter. Thank you so much for joining this call. Grandraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Stop share.